ever wonder why 3 Primal Incarnates were in the Vault of the Incarnates, but Raszageth was imprisoned by Deathwing in a Forbidden Reach in a completely separate place? Well, right next to her prison, we had found actual Azerite, we had found Titan laboratories, and most importantly, she was imprisoned through a void portal created by Deathwing. Now, as we know, Azerite came out on 2 occasions, and that is every time the World Soul is really damaged, when Sargeras stabbed it, and long ago when Y'Shaarj was pulled out by Aman'Tul. Could Forbidden Reach be the place where this exact event happened, or was this where the possible 5th Old God Zealoteth may have been defeated? Blizzard just confirmed that we will be going back to Forbidden Reach in 10.0.7, which is going to be super soon, and I think we're set to discover some incredibly interesting lore, and we are going inside Deathwing's secret laboratory. If you guys are looking to buy Dragonflight or anything Warcraft related, Gamiibo has some amazing sales that you can check out with my link. On top of that, you can get software, gift cards, various games at crazy prices. Best of all, you can use my code DORON to add yet another discount to your purchase, so make sure to click my link below, check out Gamiibo, and grab some amazing deals. So I don't even really know where to begin, as there is quite a bit of stuff to unpack here, but I guess we can really start with Forbidden Reach and what it even is. At the moment, the lore is actually quite unclear, other than the fact that this is the Dynactyl Starter Zone. However, we do have some actual info, it isn't all just speculations. Blizzard never gave us any information what the Dragon Isles looked like before the Sundering, and where they even were exactly. We have some estimates of how it may have looked like. However, it was said it was Neltharion that carved out Forbidden Reach, but of course, we don't really know what the zone really was before. More than likely an island, just like it is today, but nothing is really certain. Now, you gotta keep in mind just how powerful Neltharion was when he was given watch over an entire zone, and he could literally shape an entire zone. Like, this is literally a godlike level. The thing is, the other aspects were aware of his directed experiment. This was no secret, but it is safe to say that he was 100% working on 2 sides, one that was public and one that was not so much. The aspects gave him some powers. It was like the Dragon Soul prototype version, like the first one where he took all their combined powers. So this zone and the project was not actually hidden from the public eye, but what I'm almost certain was not the case is that they knew anything about his use of the Void and the Old God powers, as well as the experiments he has been doing within the vaults. Now, if you guys had followed the main storyline of Dragonflight, you may have noticed something really interesting, and that is that there are 4 Primal Incarnates. However, only 3 were actually imprisoned in the Vault of the Incarnates that were freed at the end of the raid, while Raszageth, the main boss of 10.0, was imprisoned in a completely different location in Forbidden Reach directly by Deathwing. I think this is incredibly telling, and personally, I find it kind of strange that the aspects didn't research more into why Neltharion wanted to personally imprison Raszageth on his island instead of sending her into the vault with the rest of the Incarnates. From our current perspective, the answer is 100% obvious. It is the same reason he decided to discard and imprison the Dynactyl. All of them were witnesses to him using Old God powers, and he had to hide it from all the other aspects, otherwise he would be in big trouble. However, the reason I decided to make this video, and what I think is a huge hint for what will be happening in the future, is that some players can actually examine the prison of Raszageth, and there is legit Azerite, like the lifeblood of Azeroth, in the actual vault, and there are Titan tech rooms, biolabs for dragons, libraries, and arcane prisons. Just think about how crazy this entire thing is. Neltharion defeated Raszageth with the help of the Old God powers, and if you might have noticed, he used an actual void portal in order to seal away or incapacitate the Primal Incarnate, yet her actual prison is filled with the lifeblood of Azeroth and Titan prisons. Those 2 are the exact opposite powers on the cosmological chart, and how would that possibly even work? Imagine a void portal that sends into a Titan prison filled with arcane. It's just kind of all over the place. In my opinion, my theory is that all of this relates to the info that I mentioned in the other Deathwing's True Mission video that you can check out on the channel. But long story short, I think Neltharion, through his connection to Earth, in particular the Old Gods, managed to discover that he was, after all, a slave to the Titan mechanism. We had just discovered laboratories in Deerhold where Tyr literally experimented on proto-dragons, created the aspects. So when you think about it, seeing that the Titans invaded Azeroth, this wasn't some noble goal of protecting the world from the invaders. The hard truth is probably Tyr found the most powerful native race on Azeroth and decided to enhance them and turn them to their side so that they can protect, not the world, but to protect the Titan Order on Azeroth. Neltharion was probably shown this by the Old Gods. As you may know, the Void is all about showing all the visions of what is going on instead of following one, and that might have completely changed his mind. Of course, we don't really know what happened, but I speculate that he attempted to manipulate both the Old God powers and the Titan powers, sort of like towing the line but not going to either side in order to free himself and the dragons from their grasp, but ultimately that led to him falling into one side, and you obviously know which side he fell towards. So Deathwing was at that point still 100% a Titan Dragon, using Arcane, using Titan magic, Titan abilities, but on the side, he was experimenting with the Void. This is the main reason he secluded himself from Forbidden Reach, so that no one would know, because the other aspects, as they were brainwashed by the Titans, would never get the same visions and would never understand what was really going on. This, to me, also makes sense why he decided to create the private army, the Draktyr. We had two exact same scenarios in the past. Arthas strengthened the Scourge to resist the Legion and to get his stronger hold over Azeroth, and Illidan created this Demon Hunter army to be independent as well. Now, what is the most interesting out of this entire point is that we can actually connect this to the roadmap for Dragonflight that Blizzard released a few weeks back. They said that 10.1 is coming out somewhere before the summer, but I'm guessing around March or April we will be getting into 10.0.7. Now, if you may have noticed, they told us that we will return to Forbidden Reach in this sort of half patch. To most people, this doesn't really mean much. Some have connected this to the Draktyr getting new classes other than the Evokers, for which there are actual hints, but the most important info is that there is actual Azerite in Forbidden Reach. There are Titan laboratories in Forbidden Reach, there may be other experiments that Neltharion had created in Forbidden Reach that we are yet to discover. So us going there could be a huge hint for the future. 10.1 is said to be related to the underground and more than likely Ridicron, but in 10.0.7 we might learn what was the source of Deathwing's corruption, why he decided to side with the Old Gods, and what was his true mission. Was he really corrupted, or was he just trying to leverage all these powers for some sort of a greater good? Now, what I do find incredibly interesting and really hard to connect is the fact that Azerite is in this location. As you may know, Azerite is said to be the actual blood of the actual world soul of Azeroth. Of course, as you may know, we're currently in the entire process of lore change where Azeroth may not even be Titan in origin, and that the Titans just pumped Arcane to turn it into a Titan. So Azerite could be this Arcane enhanced blood, or it could also be the pure blood. However, I could see two very likely scenarios. There are hints that the Aspects always knew to protect the world, but they probably didn't know anything about the soul and its true origin, like what Azeroth actually is. Neltharion, on the other hand, more than likely knew this, since he was connected to the Earth, so he may have tried to find a hotspot that can extract some of its blood, as it is insanely potent, in order to empower himself and his mission. Other possibility is that this might have been the source of some great battle, possibly something Old God related, which is when Neltharion decided to find this exact spot out of the entirety of Azeroth, plus he also kind of worked with the Old Gods. For example, you may know that Sargeras stabbed Azeroth. There was obviously Azerite just all over the place. Another wound we know of is when Amantul pulled out Y'Shaarj from the ground. It is likely that there was even more Azeroth in a much more significant way. Now, either this place could have been where Y'Shaarj was, or it could be some entirely different event that we're yet to learn about, and that is why there is actual Azerite in Forbidden Reach. This could be huge. Maybe this was the place where the 5th Old God Zealot that fell, which damaged the World Soul, hence the Azerite, or it could literally be something entirely different that we never knew anything about. Another really interesting thing is that Forbidden Reach is called Forbidden for a reason. It is said to be just this place that is incredibly taboo in dragon culture. They say something terrible happened there, and that all the dragons like consciously avoid it. Some say that this might be that battle that Neltharion had with Raszageth, but it could also be referring to some prior event, maybe an Old God battle, and that this place was considered cursed since forever. It might have even been why Neltharion decided to pick it out of all the other continents. I mean, he's a dragon, he can fly wherever he wants, so that no one could bother him because all the dragons are afraid to visit this Forbidden Reach. Regardless, I think 10.0.7 has the potential to reveal some crazy information that is 100% going to lead into 10.1. Thank you for watching. Check out how the Primal Incarnates make it in the original Aspects by clicking on the screen, and check out Donald's Academy for videos on real world history. See you next time.